Yo, 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 no maniacs, welcome into the show. This is Nomad Live, man. We're talking about some sleepers today, man. Some 2025 sleepers, some of them guys on my list. And as you can see on the thumbnail, it says part 1. That's because it's going to be several shows of this like, and it's going to be a bunch of guys to talk about. I got a bunch of dudes for you guys to hear about and see about. Some of them you may have already heard about, maybe not. You know, just only hearing about them is one thing, but getting a little bit of detail on them is another. I'm going to bring that to you tonight. My guy, FFG, is in the background, getting ready to come in just a second. While we got to talk about this breaking news that's going on, man. As you guys have heard by now, you know, the Bears have hired 3 coaches. 2 of them I introduced, you know, on some extra sauce Wednesday night. And, you know, I felt like, you know, there was a good chance that he might go and get some of those guys over there, young quarterbacks, Coach JT Barrett, and Antoine Randall L., who is an awesome receivers coach. They gave him the assistant head coaching job. But we're going to talk about all that. And also Al Harris, who was interesting. He's a DB's coach in Dallas. He's very, very interesting. How he came on my radar was the Mike McCarthy potential hiring. So I started to do a little bit of homework on that and you know, kind of look at the staff and see if they hired Mike McCarthy, who he might potentially bring over here. And one of the first people that came to mind was Al Harris, because I know how much respect that he has amongst those players. And also makes me start thinking about their defensive coordinator, Mike Zimmer, and a very, very experienced head coach. He's got head coaching experience, and he's a great defensive coordinator. He's been that his whole career. You know, that's a whole conversation we got to have, man. But I did go and do some research on the Bears staff, on the Cowboys staff, and Al Harris was a name that stuck out to me. It's interesting that some of these names that I really highlighted and talking about Al Harris in particular, it's interesting that we just hired all 3 of these guys, man. It's very, very interesting. But let me shut up talking and say congratulations to Marco King for the first No Maniac up in here. I seen Crimson right after that, Joseph Archer right after that, Jay Capone, the Don. What's going on, fellas, man? Let's get into it. Let me bring FFG onto the scene so we can chop it up about this new hire, man, these new hires. What's going on, player?
What up, fellas? Ladies, everybody in the building, No Maniacs. It's time to run wild in this segment. It's finna go down. So we finna find out where the Bears really at. And that's what I can't wait to talk about. So let's get it.
So as people start to file in, man, make sure everybody hits the like button. And if you're not subscribing, you're listening to the show and you want to come in and chat, all you got to do is pop that subscribe button. Come on in. We can hear your thoughts. So you'll just feel welcome, feel blessed, and come on in here. We want to hear from you too. Come on in here. Just hit the subscribe button, man. But make sure you guys hit that like button while you're coming in here. Hit that notification bell, because you never know when we're going to have to do a live show. But that being said, man, listen, let me get the graphic up on the screen for everybody. Hold on a second, fellas and ladies. If there's any ladies in here, give me a second to pull it up. So it got me working my butt off. I had to do this last second. So we just hired 3 new coaches. As you can see on the screen, that is JT Barrett to your left, assistant quarterback, was assistant quarterbacks coach in Detroit. In the middle is Al Harris, defensive. I think he was a secondaries coach or just a DB's coach. I don't know for sure, but we'll get the official title here in a second. And my guy Antoine Randall L. from Chicago. I put a short out for both of these guys from Detroit, Antoine Randall L. and both JT Barrett, and they're out there. So you can see that we identified this stuff early on. It's not like I'm trying to take a victory lap about it or anything like that, but we did get a little bit ahead of the curve and identify some of the talent on that staff that, you know, Ben Johnson might want to bring over here. So let me get to, before you start talking, FFG, let me get to Twitter right quick. I'm going to share my screen, and we'll get their official titles, I believe. Hold on a second. Can you see? Can you see the screen yet? FFG, can you see it?
No, I can't see it.
Oh, give me a second then. Hold on. Let me get it right.
While you're getting that set up, Shout out to Mitch Osborne, AC, and I'm in the building.
What up, Mitch? AC, what's going on? All right, here we go. So here's the news. Can you see it now?
Yes, sir.
All right, here we go.
I think it's behind the thumbnail.
Yeah. Let me get it.
You probably want to put it on top.
Hold on a second. Let me get this down. I'm all jacked up. I'm doing all the producing and all everything because we don't got Nick right now. But let me get it. There you go. Hopefully you can see that.
There we go. Now we cover where Chris go.
All right, here we go. So Adam Schefter is reporting that the Bears are working to finalize a deal to make former Lions wide receiver coach Antoine Randall L. their new assistant coach, which they had to do. They had to give him a title up. They had to give him a stripe up in I guess pay, and it's got to be a promotion. So they gave him the title of assistant head coach, which is big. He's also going to be the wide receiver coach, according to Ben Johnson. Let me go home. Let me try to see if I can find some more updated news and see if anything is broken since. Let me see. Just bear with me, y'all, while I'm messing with Twitter with this BS on here. Yeah, they still going on about this Trey Smith stuff.
Now, one thing I'm curious about, though, Nomad, when it comes to this, how does, like, even for Mr. Allen's case, so he was fired as a head coach, that would be a step down. So it's technically like a promotion in any shape, form, or fashion for him. What does that consider? You just lost your job, and now, because technically these people didn't lose their job. So it's only people who are still on staff have to get a promotion, correct?
I was reading, man. I'm sorry. I ain't gonna lie to you. What'd you say, man?
Well, the only people that can move laterally or downgrade are people who've been fired or their staff lost their positions, like everybody on the Bears. They can either go up or down because they no longer have a position with the franchise. So it doesn't matter what you hire them as. But if you're hiring somebody from another team, they have to be upgraded to something. They can't just hold the same position with another team. You can't just take them over and be like, okay, I want you to do this for me because we did such a great job where we was at the last time or the last stop we was at.
That sounds about right. I don't know the particulars about that, but yeah, that sounds about right. But here we go. Jordan Schultz is reporting, sources are saying the Bears are hiring Lions assistant quarterbacks coach JT Barrett to be the new quarterbacks coach. And so he got a raise. So he's an official quarterbacks coach. He's not the guy under the guy. And so that's him. Al Harris, I'm trying to find news on him. Just the official stuff. And I know most of you guys, you heard this stuff already and you know what it is. And so it's no need for me to get to that. Let me get this off the screen because I can just describe what I heard and everybody will be cool with that. And so, hold on. Let me pull this down off the screen. All right, here we go.
He's going to be the secondary coach. No,
not just
going to be the back coach, but the secondary.
He will be the defensive passing game coordinator.
Okay.
And also the DB's coach.
Okay.
So
that's what I thought.
He's got an additional title to his resume. So that's how they did that. Yeah, I appreciate all these. I appreciate this stuff, man. I like, in particular, I don't know as much about JT Barrett as I do about Randall L. and Al Harris, but I know those two guys in particular, Crimson. Those guys are very, very
dogs.
Very dogs. What up, Minister Charles? Let me get a couple of chats up real quick while we talking a little bit. Hold on a second, FFG. Get a couple of chats. What up? As we go, man, I just want to warn you guys that I am doing this by myself, and FFG is going to pop out for a few while I do some of those players. And in order for you, if you really want, and I'm not asking for money or anything from anybody, but if you really want to get your comment highlighted, you probably have to do that through a super chat because I'm probably not going to see it. I'm going to be busy talking and trying to make sure I get the graphics up and doing the production stuff in the background. So just for the record, if you want to see your comment on the screen, you probably just a couple dollars. It's nothing. But yeah, I'm very, very, very pleased with these three hires, man. I think, and let's go from left to right with JT Barrett, and let's put this back on the screen and get us over here. JT Barrett, the little bit that I know about JT Barrett is I know that team really respected him when he was at Ohio State FSG. I mean, they really respected him, and Urban Meyer loved him. And so it didn't surprise me that, I mean, he was the leadership material that he had in him while he was there. It was obvious. I watched that team pretty close during that time. He had obvious leadership capabilities, man, and it didn't surprise me whatsoever that he turned out to be a coach. And from the outside looking in, if he brought him over here to be Caleb's, that's basically what he's going to be, is Caleb's confidant. That's what it is. He's going to be Caleb's confidant and trying to get him, to play in structure, the right kind of style that they need for him to play in order for him to get to where he needs to go. I do love this hire, man.
I think JT Barrett is probably what they want to do last year when they signed Boy to be the same kind of role model that was a running threat, that was a passing threat, that JT Barrett actually did it on a large stage and against pretty much NFL competition. That's who he played against at Ohio State. But at the time, they weren't letting his game translation be formidable in the NFL. Now it's the go-to. So now he can actually give what he's seen in the NFL for the last 7 years and say, hey, this is how to adapt it to be successful running a team with having both of those traits and being a pure passer, because he was actually a great passer at Ohio State. So I think that's where it's going to benefit Caleb Williams.
I just love the potential here, and we don't know anything about how it's going to translate over here in Chicago, but I can see, the tea leaves tell me something. You know what I mean? I know he's got leadership capabilities to him, and I think he can bring something to the table. I think they thought that he can bring something to the table. Otherwise, they wouldn't have hired him. But there's a certain level of respect that when a coach leaves a building, to take a head coaching job or something like that, and he goes back and he's, being mindful about some of the leadership stuff that he's seen out of some of these guys. He's like, I want to bring that over here and install that into these players through them. And so it's a very good. I just like the potential here. But let's go to Al Harris. Al Harris is like some of the DB work that he's done with, say, guys like Jordan Lewis in Dallas, man. Nobody never knew who the hell Jordan Lewis was until Al Harris got to him and worked on him. He is really, really, really good. Trayvon Diggs was a dog when he was at Alabama, but he didn't. Before he got injured, nobody knew he was going to pop onto the scene in his rookie and second year and just completely dominate from a cornerback position the way he did. That's all because of the coaching and training of Al Harris. He was a man corner when he was at Alabama for the most part. Hardly ever played in zone, but he quickly turned his skill set and traits around so that they can play and fit well in the zone, which is what they did in Dallas for the most part. And man, I mean, it's impressive, some of the stuff. He's not the only one. There's guys like Marquise Bell that was drafted as a linebacker that turned into a safety. I mean, there's player after player, situation after situation I can point to in Dallas and some of Al Harris's work that is so damn impressive. I mean, it's just, I'm telling you, we should be really, really happy this dude is in this building. I'm telling you.
It's not just Al Harris. I mean, not just them dudes. You got to think about it. DaRon Bland, did nobody know he was going to blow up like that until he got tutelage under Al Harris? You know what I'm saying? He turned that kid into what Al Harris used to be for the Packers, which I hated him when he played for the Packers all them years, where Brett Favre. Couldn't stand that dude, but he was a dog. And I think that's what he's going to bring, that toughness, that physical nature, and that ball hawking ability back to the Bears secondary, where we're not going to just sit around and wait. We're going to attack. And that's what he used to do. So that is actually a strong hire for me, because Dallas had, when they were healthy, had one of the best secondaries in the league.
No question about it, man. I'm glad you mentioned DaRon Bland, because like I said, there's multiple guys in that secondary that I can point out. I was just trying not to be a ball hawk. A ball hawk, pass it on. But yeah, DaRon Bland, hell yeah. Scrolls and Nick. Yes, he is. I mean, he's got the way he's transformed and turned guys into, we talking about, I don't know if Deron Bland made a Pro Bowl or Jordan Lewis made a Pro Bowl, but
Yeah,
I know
he
they
made a Pro Bowl last year.
Okay, so it's just obvious to me that somebody in that building knows what the hell they're doing. And I think Scrolls is right. He says Ben is adding strong personality to set the culture and offset his mostly cerebral presence. Let me tell you something, man. One thing you got to know is a coach is never. I've never really coached officially. I've helped multiple friends of mine, for little spells here and there, and got out and got some of the DBs, receivers, running backs right, only for little bits of time, at a time, But I walked around and I watched the dynamics of how coaches, interact with these dudes, and and I had to tell one of my homeboys, I was like, dude, you ain't got enough strong personalities around here, man. It's like the inmates run the asylum out here, man. You gotta get some dudes in here to crack the whip. You know what I mean? You gotta have guys that have strong presence, in your building to really set the tone of what you're trying to get across to your players. And I think at least two of these guys I know for sure. Al Harris and the next person I'm about to talk about, Randall L., man, let me tell you something. He didn't play no games with them receivers, man. And one of the things that I pointed out in the short, if you guys have seen that short that's out there, it's a short out there on JT Barrett and Randall L. But one of the things I pointed out in the short with Randall L. is, I don't know that people realize the importance of what those receivers meant to that offense. You're talking about second, third level blocking. Sometimes they're using those guys to pull block. I mean, they're doing all kinds of stuff with those receivers. And how do you get those receivers to not play receiver and play blocker? You have to get them to commit there's a commitment to the scheme that you have to run play by play. So each individual play is going to require everybody to do their job. I said it was coach speak when I said it the first time, and it does sound like coach speak when I say that it takes all 11. They are the epitome over in Detroit, and those receivers are the epitome of why it takes all 11. So when you see those guys blocking it all the way up to the second and third level, and Jamison Williams is running free, and Jahmyr Gibbs and those guys are just running free untouched, that's because at the top of that play, there are receivers sealing those blocks. There are tight ends sealing those blocks. And that's all due to the work of Antoine Randall L., getting them to buy in and commit to what they have to do.
And one thing I do love about these hires, none of these dudes, quote unquote, household names. They was all dogs and had to earn it every single week to be considered good players. They, because Randall L., he was the gadget guy for Pittsburgh. You know what I'm saying? He did it on special teams. He did it on every single level he could to be on the field. He played hard, and he honed his craft at everything he could do. Same thing with Al Harris. Al Harris wasn't considered one of the best corners in the league. He went out there and showed improved, and he went and took on the top cats every week to make sure that they knew his name. Maybe not the coaches knew, but the players knew. And same thing with JT Barrett, that they didn't think a lot of him when he played for Ohio State, as far as he was being number one, one of the top touted quarterbacks in the country and all that stuff. But he went out there play in and play out and showed his toughness, showed his intelligence, and showed his grit to be able to control a highfalutin and high-powered team every week. What's up, Paul? What's up, Zach? Squirrels, Nick, everybody who's just jumped in the building. Thank y'all for coming out. We love y'all, man.
Appreciate y'all, man. Yeah, just to nail home the point about those two guys in particular, Al Harris and Antoine Randall L., man. I think Al Harris was assistant head coach at Dallas. I want to say he got some kind of raise or some kind of promotion while he was at Dallas. I know one thing, they really love that guy out there. And, even when they lost the coordinator, Al Harris stayed at his job. Usually when you lose a D coordinator, pretty much the whole staff goes, right? Al Harris kept his job in Dallas. When Quinn left that building and they brought in Zimmer, Al Harris kept his job. That should tell you a whole bunch. And Antoine Randall L., again, I'm just going to say, the way the discipline, I've heard him mic'd up talking to those guys out there. He don't play no games with those receivers. And, it's going to be I think because he played the game at such a high level, 9 years in the league, probably about 6 or 7 of them with the Steelers. I think maybe 2-3 years with Washington. I think, I don't know, I can't remember, but I know he went later on in his career to another team. I think it was Washington. But the experience that he brings to the table, of course, everybody know what Al Harris brings to the table. I think that just speaks volumes, and he can speak directly. They can speak directly to what they're going through out there on the field at any given moment. And so I think that is highly, highly important to have those kind of features as coaches on your team, man. So congratulations to those 3 guys, man. I think they're going to come in here and tear it up. I have nothing but faith in these guys, JT Barrett too. One more, anything else you have to say about this before we wrap that part up?
Yes, sir. The most important thing that people don't talk about, Randall L. and Al Harris both won a championship. Played on championship level teams. Both of them.
That's
Randall
true.
L. won with Pittsburgh, and Al Harris won in Green Bay. So they know what it takes to be a champion. And that's not something that you can just hire off the street. That's something that you have to earn. And they can express to all the players they ain't never won nothing because ain't nobody in the Bears ever won crap or been to a championship game, what to look for, how to act, how to prepare, and how to play.
Yeah, more than anything, man. Sometimes it's just about teaching them how to be professional. You know what I mean? Some young guys in here that you might have coaches that don't really, they know how to coach, but they don't know how it is to be a professional in the NFL. You'll have coaches that come through a system like that, but these guys can speak directly to that. And I just love the fact that we got them in the building. I'm gonna take this graphic down because we got a little bit of other little side news and a little nugget or two that I want to talk about before we get into these players. And that is the Raiders hired Pete Carroll, which doesn't surprise me. It might shock a whole lot of other people, but it doesn't surprise me. I'm proud of the Raiders for not using age as a discrimination tactic to kind of shun out a really, really good coach. I wouldn't have been mad if he ended up being the coach here. I really wouldn't have, man, because I think Pete Carroll, he's a program builder. That's what he does. He builds programs. And what do they need in Vegas more than anything? That program built. They'll get their quarterback. They'll get everything they need. But first you have to establish the culture and set the groundworks. Make sure the grass is, the ground is fertile so that you can grow. And I believe Pete Carroll will bring that to the table out there. But real quickly, what's your thoughts about that?
I saw what Pete Carroll did when he became the head coach of Seattle. And what he said is, I'm going to be the owner of the Pac-10 because I watch all these kids play. And he basically built the Legion of Boom and the linebacking core and the defensive line basically from what he got to see all the time. That was on TV. He wasn't bothering going to Alabama and Tennessee and all Pittsburgh. And he said, I'm taking local kids and people that I get to see all the time, and I'm going to make them work. Plus, he can live longer in Vegas. Hell, he can coach. He's 85 because the weather is nice. Unlike Marvin Levy out there freezing to death in Buffalo. Something to think about. Longevity.
Talk for a second. I had somebody at my door. I'll be right back.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, you guys, the next thing that we have to really think about, the next 2 positions are really going to be the most important hires, or the next 3, technically to me, are going to be defensive coordinator, because we're going to have somebody come in and be able to work with the people that have already been hired, and also who's going to be able to teach on the offensive level side for the coordinator position, which if it was me, I'm hiring Bobby Slowik, who just got fired. Let him work with me in creating, because he just worked with a rookie and got him to be the rookie of the year. You know what I'm saying? They went to the playoffs again. Now, they was broke up most this year. Line was beat up. And now the offensive line coach is going to be the next thing they have to address. And so once you have those 3 things in place, everything else, tight ends coach, running backs coach, all that kind of stuff can fall into place, because you can actually figure out who you want to be in those positions. But those are the next three biggest hires the Bears are going to have to make. And I think he's actually going about it the right way, giving people an opportunity to let them grow. So we're not having somebody have one good season and out the door as the next head coach of such and such. And I think that is probably more important than anything else.
I'm back, bro. I'm sorry to put you on the spot like that. Now, usually people don't pop up at my door, but I do live in the hood, bro. I do live in the hood.
That's not what I'm. No worries at all.
So I overheard you when I was coming back. The next thing I was going to talk about was, it surprised me, but not so much when I think about it in its totality. Bobby Slowik getting fired down in Houston. So what I will say to that real quick is, I can understand why DeMeco Ryans did that, because there was no ingenuity to what he was doing. So basically, the offense that Bobby Slowik installed in there for the quarterback, for Stroud, was basically an entry-level offense. And so it basically had the core pro-style football tenets to the West Coast offense. Basically, get under center, do play action, and, this is going to help you get comfortable in your role as the new quarterback in the NFL. And so it went really well for him, man. They gradually started adding a little bit to the offense as they got further and further down into the season last year. And so it looked good throughout the entire season. And so they ran it back again, but they ran it back again with really nothing new whatsoever. You saw no development as far as the process goes with their scheme. That you saw no bells and whistles. It was really, really vanilla. And like the Texans wasn't surprising nobody. Dude, it was either they handing that thing off to 28 or he's going to do a play action, try to get it over the middle to number 12 for the most part. That's what they did. So to me, the lack of ingenuity led to that. Now, in comparison to a situation that we have going on here with, say, a Caleb Williams, would a coordinator like Bobby Slowik maybe work under these circumstances while he's basically starting them from scratch, is what Ben Johnson's going to have to do. Break him on down to the studs and rebuild him in the way that he needs to be rebuilt. But to get him comfortable playing a pro-style offense under center, to get him to the level he needs to, you need a guy like Bobby Slowik to slow the game down for him and kind of cut the fuel off and really get him comfortable in his role. And so I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up on, whatever the short list is. But Hank Fraley is still out there, and per cap, that stuff is starting to get a little bit more momentum than it's had in the last several days. So, what's your thoughts about that, real quick?
If Hank Fraley comes in, our offensive line will be solidified. So that could be two hires in one, because he can actually build with Ben Johnson because they're on the same page, because he already was with him in Detroit, which would further cripple them, which would benefit us to the utmost. But what I see him doing is he's taking young, aspiring coaches and giving them a leg up in the game so they can be here a while to develop and really be somebody, so they're not going to be leaving in a year or so to become a head coach somewhere else. And I think that is probably the biggest thing, that he's given opportunity to build and sustain what they couldn't do in Detroit. Does that make sense to you?
A little bit. All I know is what he'd still have that job if he brought a little bit more ingenuity to the situation. I think just because they were so predictable, and I watched them in the playoffs, there was no new wrinkles to what they were doing whatsoever. No reverses, no nothing. When you see a team like Detroit out there running all kinds of crazy stuff and executing, they had a pretty decent offensive line, pretty good staff, pretty good personnel. It's just like getting those guys going. Even when they had Stephon Diggs there, that offense didn't look particularly like an explosive offense like they expected for it to be with those pieces. And so, it didn't surprise me whatsoever that they let go of Bobby Slowik. That thing should have matured a little bit more, and it was still very entry level. like it was when they got C.J. Stroud as a rookie.
I think that is the case, and I think that he didn't know how to deal with all the injury problems they had on the offensive line and playmakers to be able to shift in his focus and to be able to come up with different game plans to be able to say, okay, now we have this already established. Let's do this and catch him off guard. I don't think he's at that point. So being able to work under Ben Johnson would actually benefit him in about 2 or 3 years. Then, yeah, you can move on. Go be a head coach somewhere. Now that you have the refinement to actually be a head coach and understand how to build up something that you already can put in the rudimentary aspects and help a quarterback become a steady an influence on the team. And I think that is where he needs to build his stature as a coach.
Yeah. I have my thoughts about that whole situation. I think we said enough on it. FFG, if you can just hang in there and just kind of be silent, Bob, for a little while I do this thing.
You're good, man. Go ahead, do your thing.
I'm gonna pull up some graphics here and kind of let us go down the road we need to go down with these players, man. I'm gonna build it up for you guys in a second here, but let me get to the graphics that I need to see. Hold on a second. A second while I pull it up. And so this is just a reminder of where we are. Here are the draft picks. So in the first round, give me a second. In the first round, of course, we got the first round pick. I think that's number 10 at this point. Second round pick, 2 seconds. One of them per the Panthers. And the third round pick, a 5th round pick, a 6th round pick, and another 6th round pick. And so here's my thoughts on this, where we are. I don't think whatsoever. I don't think we can go into this draft. It can't be a plan of we stick with the draft picks that we got and we'll be fine. That can't be it, in my opinion. I don't think you can hold on to that first pick. I really don't. And I know people feel a way about that, but I don't think it's a player really on the board that has to, in that top 10, that has to be drafted right then, right there. I don't think there's a guy in the draft that has to be drafted right then and you can't pass him up. Because I think that later on in the draft, you can get almost equal value, or maybe even better, depending on how you develop in your talent. But I really don't think that you can hold on to that first pick. I think you have to consider moving that pick. And so I like the amount of picks that we have, but I would love to see him come out of this thing with about 10 or 11 picks, some way, somehow. And I think the way you do that is just be open-minded about it. And what I'm gonna tell you guys about being open-minded, y'all gonna be surprised what I'm gonna say here in a minute. But I'm just taking you guys somewhere. And let me get up another image here. And so this is our needs, in my opinion. And you guys can tell me if you think I'm on point or not. Let me know in the chat, and just tell me if you think is this accurate. So I believe our team needs is definitely O tackle, definitely center, definitely guard. So in the trenches, we definitely need that on the offensive side of the ball. On the defense, D tackle, safety, and edge rusher. In whatever order you guys might want to think of it, I know we need those pieces. And also running back. And so one thing that I did hear about was this. Watching Colin Coward, and I heard something that really perked my ears up. And give me a second while I pull it up. Listen to Ben Johnson on listen to Ben Johnson on Colin Coward's show, or whether it's his podcast or his national show. I don't know. All I know is I heard my ears perked up, and it's exactly what I said all season, is that we're going to have to upgrade this running back room. And he confirmed with Colin Coward that we're going to definitely be looking to upgrade that room. Now, he did some coach speak while he was talking about it and said that, I like these guys. I like Swift and I like Roschon, but that's just coach speak. They really want to upgrade that room. And what that means to me is I heard him say upgrades, plural. And so what it said to me, or maybe I just wanted to hear upgrades and I want to go plural because I think we should draft 2 running backs, but that's just how I think about it. But I do think they need more. They need more in that room. And it's obvious. It became obvious all season long that we need more. And I believe I'll let you in for this conversation right quick, FFG. speak on this, but I definitely heard him say that we're gonna need to upgrade that room. It's important.
Yeah, he's been doing all around the world in the last 2 days, and he definitely did say we need to upgrade the running back room in its entirety. So I think that he had probably the best outcome with Swift as far as his production, not just running the ball, but they got better as an offensive line group while he was there and after he left. So what they really want to have is that thunder and lightning that they have in Detroit now. I really think that Roschon is not the thunder that they want. That's not my opinion. And that's not what I've seen. And his concussion situation is really thwarting that option consistently. So I think they're going to probably get like a Junkins or whatever in the 5th round, or somebody who's a bruiser back, and let's see if he whatever talks he has with DeAndre, see if he can be the lightning again, once they upgrade this offensive line. So we're going to find out. Or they may just replace him altogether, which I seriously doubt, but because they're paying him that $7-8 million a year. So I think they may have somebody they draft in the later rounds is waiting in the wings. I think that may be the situation where they're no longer paying them running back position, and now they have what they want as the outcome down the road.
Yeah, so really, well, this is just lead me right into the next conversation. But I do think he's spot on, and I'm not accusing DeAndre Swift and Roschon Johnson of being two bad running backs at all, man. We had deficiencies along our offensive line the entire season, man. We were getting attacked along our front and not the offensive line attacking the other front. And so when you got a dynamic like that, you got guys constantly in the backfield early and plugging up holes, and those guys not leveraging and moving people out of the way and creating situations for the running backs to achieve, then you get situations like you got. Now, I still think DeAndre Swift is a hell of a running back. I won't change my opinion about that. Now, can we get other people in the building that can add to what DeAndre Swift brings to the table? Hell yeah. But I thought it takes me back to a couple years ago when Roschon Johnson was, before he was drafted, and everybody was like, I could remember certain podcasters, Roschon Johnson is going to be the next this and the next that. And I'm just like, hold on, I'm like, all right, let me just remember. We talking about people that just mostly just fans and they don't really understand football the way they should understand football. And I'm just like, there's nothing really special about Roschon Johnson. I'm not saying that he can't be an efficient, sustainable running back that can get you, some good action. You know what I mean? He can. But to some of the levels it went to before he was drafted, and then when he got drafted, it was crazy. I was just like, what are these people looking at? There is nothing special about this. This dude is mayonnaise, bro. He's just a plain old condiment. That's it. But, I got a lot of respect for him. He's tough. I love that part about him, but we definitely have to upgrade that room. Definitely. And if Roschon Johnson isn't on this roster, I'm not going to be one of these people that's running around rooting for him not to be here. But to get the upgrades we need, so be it, bro. I just, we just definitely, it's a glaring weakness on the roster, this running back room. So this is where it's been taking me. So let me go right to this. Let's get right to the stuff, y'all. Let me get to what y'all came here for. Hold on. Give me a second while I pull up. The first guy is Taj Brooks. Of course, I showed him who he was the other night, and I think people really love Taj Brooks. But Taj Brooks is 5'10", 230-pound senior. Man, this dude is powerful. And when I say powerful, I mean powerful. I mean, the contact balance is really off the chart. Really soft hands for a dude his size, man. And just great lateral agility. Now, I was looking at this cat, and it's hard to, like he's built kind of like Khalil Herbert in his size stature, his frame. And you look at him run the ball, and the one thing that he has, I would say, that trumps Khalil Herbert is the fact that he can move east and west, left to right, lateral. And I mean, and really quickly at the same time. I mean, he will leave somebody stuck in that hole. Man, I mean, I'm telling you, Taj Brooks is 110% in the top 5 of the running backs in this draft. And I hope you guys did your homework. And if you did, I know you're going to be glad that he's out here in the atmosphere, man. I'm telling you, Taj Brooks is a true sleeper. And I guarantee you by the time this situation is all said and done, he won't be so much no more. But Taj Brooks, he's a straight up thoroughbred, man. Straight up. Let me look at a couple of comments. I'll do that. As I'm talking about each one of these players, I'll go through. I like that Mitch Osborne, Najee Harris. I like that. Caleb Johnson. He's not a sleeper no more. Let me see. Wheeler, I don't know if he'll be back, man. I don't know. Let me see. I'm just looking at a couple of chats. But hey, please do your due diligence, y'all, and go check out you some Taj Brooks. I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed. This cat is, I mean, I just love the power that he runs with. And he's not one of those, just because I'm powerful, I got to go try to run and truck everybody. No, he's going to make you look stupid in the hole and going to just move around you and accelerates. Really, he goes from 0 to 10 really, really fast. And I just don't understand why he's not being spoken about, much more, but this is how it goes when most people constantly listening to the so-called expert and the mixed, what's his name, Mel Kipers of the world. You won't hear about guys like Taj Brooks because all you're hearing about is Ashton Genty and Cam Scatterbo. That's all you're hearing about. It's not like these guys ain't great players. It's just that's what people want to talk about. Cam Scatterbo and Ashton Genty. And so here's another guy for you. But the other guy, and we talked about him too before we get to the third guy. And I wonder how many of you guys checked this guy out. Because I know if anybody went and checked out Bashard Smith's film, anybody that's went and checked out Bashard Smith's film came away with the same thoughts that I got right now. Very, very explosive. And he is Jahmyr Gibbs type with his twitch. He gets from 0 to 10 in a blip. And he's basically, to me, I see Jahmyr Gibbs as a running back / receiver. And that's the way I see Bashard Smith. You need a guy in this kind of offense that Ben Johnson is running. He's going to run here. You need guys, the way they'll have this thing set up is to, you have guys in your backfield that's going to accelerate through those alleys. The offensive line is going to generate and accelerate through them quick. And at the top of those plays, of course, the receivers are also blocking. So guys like him, if he's looking to find the Jahmyr Gibbs for his offense, I'm telling you guys, Bashard Smith, I am blown away by his film, straight up blown away. And I just don't understand why more people aren't talking about him. But holy crap, this cat is, man, you talking about, I can't get enough of watching him. And I just hope you guys do your due diligence on him. If you haven't, go check him out. I'm telling you, you'll come back to the show and have a whole lot to say to me. All right, let's get to another guy, another running back. He's down here somewhere. Give me a second. Give me a minute. In case you guys haven't heard and haven't seen, this guy right here you see on the screen, RJ Harvey. Holy crap. Not only is he in the top 5, the best running backs I've seen in here, I think he's top 3. That's how good I think this cat is. I just kept seeing, I kept seeing Josh Jacobs is what I kept seeing. Josh Jacobs, and I'll give a caveat to that because I think this guy has a better long speed than Josh Jacobs. I think Josh Jacobs between the tackles is ferocious, just like this guy is. But I think Josh Jacobs will get ran down far more quicker than RJ Harvey will. But this dude is absolutely explosive. I mean, a true leader, great vision, great contact balance. That's the thing that really sticks out to you is how he sees how the blocks are set up. He sees how the blocks are set up and boom, he hits the gas and he's going. Straight up physical. He's 5'9", 208 pounds, but he plays more like he's 230. Just explosive. Do yourselves a favor and go check out RJ Harvey, man. I'm telling you, this guy right here is absolutely one of the top 3 backs in this draft. I'm convinced of that. Unless I see something that really changes my mind later on as I continue to study him, I'm convinced R.J. Harvey is one of the top 3 backs in this draft. Top 3. And he's not being spoken about. He's out of Central Florida, by the way, guys. Anybody wants to go check him out. And Rashard Smith, in case you didn't know, he is out of SMU. You want to go check that guy out too? Let me see. Hold on, I'm going to read a couple of comments while I'm in here. Rocket Sanders from South Carolina. I hear that. I like him. Let me take this image down right quick. Let me see here. Minister Charles says, we don't know how he'll scheme his offense. He said today that he's scrapping the playbook and building a new one around Caleb. I hear you, but I think the passing game probably will be different than what you saw out of Jared Goff. I think the running game, why would you ever change the core tenets about that? There's nothing wrong with that run game that he was running up there. I don't think that's going to change. I think what he'll install as far as the passing game goes and some of the bells and whistles that he wants to, include in the offense, I think will be designed around Caleb's strengths. But the running attack, I think there's nothing broke with that. And why wouldn't you make a continuation of that? I believe that's what he'll do. Yeah, I know Marion Hampton, but he ain't no sleeper, bro. He is no sleeper. We talking about sleepers. Marion Hampton is he's in that top 3 to 5. In my opinion, too, Minister Charles. I'm trying to get to a couple of comments before I keep going. Where y'all want me to go? Y'all want to go offense, defense? Y'all want to go trenches? What y'all want to go? Or y'all want me to just bounce? Let me know what y'all think before I start doing it. Yeah, I think he's going to need 4 backs, FFG. I think he's going to need 4 backs that can really, really play. Yep. All right. I didn't see nothing. Somebody wanted to see wide receiver. Joseph Archer said, you called it, and that's what I'm going to do. So let me pull up a receiver. Give me a second. FFG said trenches, but Joseph Archer beat you to the punch, homeboy. So let me pull up a receiver. One of them I'm pretty sure you've heard about. I'm pretty sure you've heard about this guy right here. Tez Johnson, slot receiver. 5'10", 165-pound senior. I mean, this cat's acceleration is explosive. He gets the ball in his hands. If you don't trip him up and he sees an alley, he's gone. When I say gone, I mean gone. Gone. I mean solid route runner who gets easy separation, man. He's so quick and he's so fast. And I believe this team in particular has a real need, because I don't know exactly what they're going to do with Tyler Scott. And so, in my opinion, I do think we have a need for a slot receiver. Could you use him as a special teams guy and get some return? I think he can do all of that. I think he can do every last bit of that. But Tez Johnson is an explosive weapon out the slot that you want. And the kind of offense that I can imagine Ben Johnson creating here, he can create plays for a slot receiver like it's nothing. I mean, he's not St. Brown, but this dude can, St. Brown doesn't necessarily play a whole lot slot. You can give you some minutes at slot, but that's, your Khalif Raymonds of the world. It's the way I see Tez Johnson. This is what we've been needing really since Mooney left. I always saw Mooney as a slot receiver. He just didn't get used the right way while he was here. But Tez Johnson is absolute fireworks, and I can't wait. I don't know how many of you guys have checked him out on film, but holy crap, this dude is. I'm telling you, you're going to love this football player right here. But let me look at a couple pieces in the chat. Minister Charles says he's too small, man. I used to say that about a whole lot of guys until I played with some teeny tiny guys that just completely proved me wrong about that. I don't look at somebody's size until it doesn't tell me what he can do. Like, man, hey, Tez Johnson is tough, bro. I mean, like tough as a $2 steak, Minister Charles. Check him out, man. Check him out. That's just all I ask you to do is go check him out. So that's one receiver. Here's another. This guy, y'all gonna love him, man. Y'all gonna straight up love this cat right here. Let me find him. Hold on. Let me find him. Where you at, boy? Washington State receiver, Kyle Williams, 6 foot, 186 pounds, another smallish guy. But you won't think that when you're watching him play. Guarantee you won't think you. I guarantee that's the last thing that's going to be on your mind is his measurements when you're watching Kyle Williams play. He is the yak king. He's a straight up playmaker. You put the ball in his hands and just watch out. Watch out. You talking about slot receiver de jour? Kyle Williams is that. He's that dude. He is that dude. This dude might be. I would just say that I'm going to reach when I say this, but I don't feel uncomfortable whatsoever when I say this. I think he's in the top 7 of all the receivers in his class. I'm talking about the big ones, the small ones. I don't care. He is that good. You put that guy in an offense like I think they're going to create here. I'm telling you, Kyle Williams is explosive. And I definitely know that you can put him in special teams, punt, kick return, and he'll burn you. This dude accelerates so fast, and he just sees it and he goes. I'm telling you, special football player. Let me look at a couple of comments. AC Adam knows who he is. AC Adam knows him. Yeah, I see you, Luther Burden. He's another guy, but he's not a sleeper. This dude, Kyle Williams, is. Kyle Williams is a dog. I'm telling y'all right now, Kyle Williams is a dog. Straight up dog. Just wait till y'all check him out, man. I hope you all are writing notes and doing whatever you can to get these names down. I encourage you to do that. And, if you later on, once we're done, if you want me to pull up a couple more images so you can make sure you got the information, I'll do that again for you. But no problem whatsoever. But Kyle Williams, I'm telling you guys, you're going to be, I think he's one of the top 7 receivers in his class, 110%. But here, let's get some trenches. I think that's what FFG wanted to talk about. So let me pull this down. Let's get to some trench monsters. All right. And so let's go to the low end here. I wouldn't call it the low end. I'm just going to say one of the most slept on tackles in this draft. So you got a lot of people that are going around here, listening to the experts talking about how, this is not a good tackle draft. I think that's a bunch of BS. Now, I would say this, that I think the tackles in this draft, I think is fairly top heavy. And what do I mean by that? I mean top heavy in a way that, you got some blue chip pieces, some serious blue chip pieces in that top 20, top 25 area that people will be like, after that, they feel like it's, those players kind of tail off and drop off a little bit. I don't think so. Most of the tackles that are drafted that high don't never really pan out the way people want them to. I think J.C. Davis is one of those guys that because he's not being talked about and because people aren't emphasizing who he is and, what he can bring to the table, he was exceptional. What he really excels as a pass protector. He's decent. He's decent to above average in the run. 6'5", 320 pounds. He's a stud pass protector, and that's what we need. Anchors like a big dog. And he sits down on guys. I mean, he is really, you wouldn't imagine looking at the Illinois team, which didn't throw the ball a whole hell of a lot. They're designed around running the ball, but this dude is a brick wall as a pass protector. That is really, really his strong point. I mean, when I say a strong point, I mean a strong point by a long way. That is really his strong point, and that's exactly what we don't have. Guys that are really, really good at pass pro. And so you talking about later on down in the draft, 3rd, 4th round, when you might have missed some things or something like that, and you still need to get a guy, J.C. Davis, I'm telling you, come back and tell me if I'm wrong or right about what I just said. All right, let me get to the next guy. This guy is not a sleeper. Josh Connerly, 6'4", 315-pound junior. He's basically the best athlete and the best pass protector in this draft. Best athlete, best pass protector, period, in the draft. He's better than Will Campbell. He's better than all those guys out there at pass pro. And just all around a better athlete than them all. He is dynamite, man. I think, as a left tackle, let's just say this. As a left tackle, I would say he's a step above Will Campbell, to be honest with you. And I really like Will Campbell. I like me some Will Campbell. But I believe this cat is better than that. There's a lot of people talking about they might, Josh Connolly. I hear this crap every year, and I get tired of hearing it, that Josh Connolly is going to get kicked into a guard. I don't buy that. I don't buy that. I think this dude is good, right, at what he does, man. He's so athletic. Why would you waste that kind of athleticism inside at guard? Yeah, there's some really good guards that are athletic, but why waste this? This dude has elite athletic ability, and he's an elite pass protector. This is just what he does well, and I think he does it better than everybody in the draft. Period. Will Campbell and whoever else. I'll fight you. I don't care. But that's what I think about Josh Connolly. And I really don't think he's a sleeper. He ended up, I've been watching him for a year. And, at the very beginning of the season, he wasn't thought of as this top draft pick like he is now. But I had to put it out there because I was on him for a long time. But, yeah, I hear you. Mr. Charles says he's projected to get kicked inside. I definitely wouldn't have a guy that size playing left tackle. Nah, I just most of the really good left tackles are in that 315, 320 range. Most of the really, really good ones. I love him at left tackle. Love him at left tackle. And if he comes in and beats out everybody, leave him there. That's how I feel about it. Here we go. Hey, Cliff, we don't do that in here, man. We don't do that. We didn't need to do that. But here we go to the next one. All right. Let's stay on the trenches, man, on the offensive side of the ball. Here's a guy. You talking about real sleeper. This is a real, true sleeper. Nolan Rucci, 6'8", 317-pound junior. He plays right guard for Penn State, but he's one of those guys that flexes. He can flex from left to right with no problem whatsoever. He's not, I wouldn't say he can't play guard, but a guy that long, you know what I mean? You got your Mekhi Bectons of the world that play guard and different guys like that. But I think his value is his flexibility. So extremely fluid mover. He's a really good athlete, great length, and he really could flex to the left side and give you some left tackle work. I don't know about his arm length. I think people might argue about that, but I don't really ever see that as the biggest deal in the world when you got a guy that can mirror as good as Nolan Rucci can. He's not one of those people are going to be talking about, but at right tackle, he's shut down over there at Penn State. He's really, really good. He's one of those people, again, that won't be talked about a whole lot, but you should be paying a whole lot of attention to. Nolan Rucci is really, really good. When you get through looking at the film, come back and let me know what you think. Yeah, I like the tight end from Penn State too. Let me get this down. Messing up mine. I love the tight end from Penn State. Said Nolan sound like Joe Pesci grandson. He definitely Italian, I believe. Definitely Italian. Yep. Bears need a center. I got a couple centers in here. We're gonna get to them. Give me a second. All right, here we go. We're gonna stay in the trenches. Let me see what else we got here. All right, let me get up here. Trenches. We're gonna just stay on the offensive side of the ball. Now, this guy, offensive guard Javonte Spraggins, 6'3", 330-pound senior. Heavy. Brick for hands. Just straight up bricks. And balance is outstanding. I took a couple of notes about him, man, that I think you all will find fairly impressive, man. Javonte Spraggins had 36 starts while he was at Tennessee, mostly at right guard, and has only allowed 2 sacks in 699 reps. 699 reps and only 2 sacks. Now, here's the interesting thing about Javonte Spraggins. He's been there since Darnell Wright was playing left tackle against Alabama. He's been there. He's only a year under Darnell Wright, but he's been there since Bayless was there. Imagine that. This dude I'm telling you, you watch this dude play football, and you just like, okay, Nomad, ain't nothing that special about him. But no. if you look a little closer, man, this dude he doesn't lose, man. Once he gets onto somebody, and that's important in the next level. Once he gets onto somebody, it's over. It's over. Great anchor at 6'3", 330 pounds. Great anchor. I mean, absolutely stud of an anchor. I mean, he's a stud athlete, period. You can look at that and tell, man. He's from East St. Louis, Illinois, which is a homeboy to me. You know what I mean? So I'm telling you this guy right here, and it's a lot of really, really good guards, but I haven't heard one person mention Javonte Spraggins' name, and I think he can go somewhere. You know, I don't like to really predict where somebody might go, but I think he's just say mid-round guy, but he's going to be an anchor on somebody's team, man. He is really impressive when you watch him on tape. Javonte Spraggins, guard from Tennessee, 6'3", 330 pounds, man. Tell me, check him out. Let me look at some comments. Jonah Monahan, I got him on the list, Barrelissimo. Got him. I don't know that he's at this point, is he a sleeper? Yeah, he played with Wright. Oh, I got a whole story about that. Let me get to that while you got me in this mind. And so here's another trench guy that I wanted to show you guys. And to me, a lot of people might tell you that this guy right here, Emory Jones, tackle from the right tackle from LSU, because so many people are focused on Will Campbell, people don't realize that guy on the other side of him is a dog. A real, Emory Jones is really, really impressive. Let me go through the stats and the measurements. 6'6", 315-pound junior. Extremely fluid. He's extremely fluid. He can really, really move, man. Mike Tyson type hand punch. You can watch it on film and you can feel the power of his hands when he puts them on somebody, and he knows it too. You can tell that he uses them as a weapon, and he is really, really impressive to watch. And straight up great anchor, man. He sits down on dudes, and that's in the ball game. I watched him against Alabama, man. And he just took out guy after guy after guy. The smaller ones, the bigger ones, because he's so fluid and can move. The smaller, twitchier edge rusher that they had at Alabama really wasn't that big of a factor against him, because he mirrored with them well. And when it came to the bigger guys, even when Braswell was there, Braswell was really strong when he was there, man. He just stopped that guy just time after time after time, just sat down on him. When he's playing that wide nine, Braswell's coming off a wide nine stance and just firing at him. And he backed him up just a second, and then he just sat that butt down. Emory Jones, it might be, I feel good enough to tell you this, that how about this? Let me just take this down off the screen and just show you exactly what I'm talking about. How about that? And y'all gonna go off on me when you see it, but that's okay. Here's been my thought for quite some time. And I believe Darnell Wright is easily our best offensive lineman. I've said this from the very beginning. Darnell Wright can play the left side if you need him to. Because I think this draft is more right tackle heavy than it is left. I think the really good guys from the left side, like your Connerleys and your Will Campbells of the world, probably are going to come off the board earlier than we're going to be able to draft that position. And so what you end up doing is finding yourself in a situation where, okay, I think the best, tackle on the board is a right tackle. And so my opinion, I think you flip Darnell Wright to left. He can do it. He can do it because I've seen him do it. He's at Tennessee. He did it and did it like an MF. So people that say, oh, I get it. Don't be moving. Look, you got to be open to the idea that this might be your best option. It's not that Darnell Wright can't do this. It's not that he's going to suffer because he's going to the other side. I think Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson and whoever they bring in as O-line coach, I think if they are open-minded about it, this might be a path you might want to go down, because you can get a guy like Emory Jones and then really solidify your right side all over again, and that Darnell Wright can play left tackle. And so to me, that's what I would be doing if I was inside that building. But let me see you guys' comments. I'm pretty sure some people probably cussing me out by now. Let me see. Yes, he is a stud, Barrelissimo. Absolutely. He does have a Mike Tyson. Wait till you see him, Cliff. I'm telling you. Wait till you see him. I knew Minister Charles was going to be one that said it. He says, leave Darnell where he's comfortable. If he's your best lineman, why take a chance on messing that? I don't think that's all. Mr. Charles, go to Tennessee versus Alabama. Just put Tennessee O-line 2021, and you'll find the Alabama game and tell me, you come back and let me know if you think Darnell Wright can play left tackle. Just all you got to do. And that was the best on best. Just all I ask you to do, and come back and tell me if you don't think he can do it. That's all I ask. I'm reading a couple of comments. Reading a couple. Yeah. MC Fact, Braxton Jones, I think, in my opinion, his best attribute to the team would be a swing tackle. I think he'd make a pretty solid swing tackle to get you out of a game, maybe start getting him some work at guard, but I think he might make a better swing. I mean, I think we've seen Braxton Jones' ceiling, in my opinion. I really do. I hear you, Minister Charles. He says, I totally understand, but where is he best suited? Once you see him function at left tackle, you won't feel like, even though he's played right tackle the past couple of years here, but that it doesn't mean that he can't get over there and get this job done. I wouldn't say he's best suited at either spot. I think he's equally effective on both sides of that ball. I really do. Listen to what Barrelissimo is saying, because I know Barrelissimo watched the same thing I did. Darnell Wright had the better of Will Anderson Jr. at left tackle, and then when he was the next year when he was put to right tackle. So you've got that option here on the table. Barrelissimo is absolutely right. I saw the same thing that he saw. He's absolutely right. You have that option, and it's a great option to have when the best lineman on your team can flex from both left and right. And if you find yourself in a position in the draft where you don't have the guy you were anticipating on getting, maybe you had your eye on that left tackle, whoever that left tackle is. And if that doesn't manufacture itself, then what are you left with? You might find yourself in a situation where it might be better for you to draft the right tackle. So that's all. I'm just making that case. Everybody doesn't have to agree with me, but that's just how I feel about it. All right, let me get to the next guy. We're going to stay in the trenches. I got some trench guys for y'all, dude. Got some trench guys for y'all. Hold on a second. Give me a minute. Mouse went dead on me. All right, let me see what I got O-line wise. Let me see what else I got here. Looking. Almost forgot I got so much stuff in here. Oh, somebody, hold on. Somebody, before people start talking about centers. Dylan Fairchild, Georgia, 6'5", 315-pound junior. Everything you need traits-wise for a center. Excels at pass pro. That's what he's really, really good at. And as good as they are running the ball at Georgia, and as much as they run the ball at Georgia, you would think it's the other way around, but that's not his strong point. He can be effective in the run game, but that's going to be a process for him, I would just say. But I'm not saying that he can't come in right away and have some kind of effectiveness in the run game. But he clearly, to me, excelled at pass pro. Really good lateral agility. So he moved from left to right pretty fluidly. And he's got good quickness, really, really precise with his hand strike. That's another thing that really stood out about Dylan Fairchild. He gets rid of that ball, and boom, his hand strike is in between the shoulders of the person in front of him pretty consistently. And that's one of those things I think, the really good O-line coaches kind of teach you is, keeping your arms tight and keeping your hands and the strike of your hands within the numbers and between the shoulders and now outside the shoulders. I think that's one of the things that people really emphasize when they're teaching these guys. That's one of the things that really stuck out to me. So let me run back through his traits that I think are really good. He just, like I said, he really excels at pass pro. That's one of the things that stuck out. that lateral agility for a guy his size was really, really good. Just that quickness, that foot quickness was just there. And those hands, I'm telling you, that's probably the thing that really stuck out to me is how good he was at hand placement. And once he got control of a guy, it was over. You know what I mean? If he beat that guy to the punch and he's got really quick hands and really effective you can tell he's done a lot of major work with that. So Dylan Fairchild is the center that I would look at in the draft. Let me look at the comments. That's how I'm going to do this from this point on. I'm just going to put a guy up, talk about him, and see what people are saying. Get as many comments up as I can. All right. Mr. Charles, I hear you, bro. We can talk about it later. I can hear you. No comments on Dylan Fairchild, so we'll get to the next guy. All right, who else do we have here? Another Georgia guy, Ernest Green III. Big, huge kid, man. 6'4", 320-pound sophomore. Has all the tools and traits, and he's been playing tackle. He's got all the tools and traits to be tackle or guard. But because he's so big, and he's going to continue to grow, he's only like, 19 years old, maybe 20. He's going to grow and get even bigger. So he's going to have to really, and there's going to be a bunch of people that's going to want to move him to guard. And so if you're, like to say, if we're Chicago and we're at a position somewhere in the mid-tier and he's still on the board, people are going to look at him as both guard and tackle material. That's going to be, and he's played some guard too. But let me read his traits. Has all the tools and traits to play either tackle or guard. Versatile and physical in the run game. Very, very physical. You can't play at Georgia and not be physical in the run game as an offensive lineman. He is so young, but I think his upside is tremendous. Ernest Green's upside is tremendous. I just don't know whether people will. It really just depends on what team drafts him. Do you have a particular need at tackle? Because if you do, I think he will easily be like a fish to water to that. But I think he's got the potential to kick inside and really be effective there because that dude ain't do nothing but get bigger and stronger, especially from the waist down. And he can really move guys and can play pretty angry when he needs to. It's not consistent, but you can see some anger in his game when he plays at times. But let me get this down and look at some comments, see who's anybody saying anything. Let me see. What are y'all talking about here? Y'all talking about Chris Foster and coming here. I know y'all, you might know most of these guys, but I guarantee I got a couple of players ain't nobody talking about. I guarantee you. I've been holding on to this information too long. I had to put it out there, Cliff. I can't help. All right. Let me see what else we got. I'm pretty sure everybody's heard of Seth McLaughlin, 6'4", 305-pound senior. He's one of those people. He's one of those centers on a lot of people's high on a lot of people's board. You know, he's a little undersized for me, but you can look at him and tell that he can probably put on some pounds. Undersized, but really, really quick. Processes info quickly. That's, looking at him play, watching him play, and seeing how sound that offensive line was and how on point they were. That's usually a telltale sign of not only really good coaching, but really, really good communication skills with the center to the offensive line to the quarterback communication. And so it's flowing really good, and that's usually a trait that the center brings to the table. And you could tell there was no, looking at the quarterback play, there was no, ambiguity about what was. This guy really, really set the table well for them. And I think that's his superpower, is how fast he got the information told the rest of the linemen what is and the quarterback, and they got off to that play. I think that's his superpower. Is he going to have to put on a couple pounds to get to where he needs to on the next level? I think so, man. I think you can't play some of the D tackles in this league at 305 pounds. You're going to have to put on another 10, 12 pounds at least to be able to anchor. But he does anchor well at 305. I will say that. But just the fact that he's a little bit undersized probably is going to make him drop quite a bit. And you might be talking about a mid-tier selection, mid to late round selection with him. But, we do have a need for a center, and we'll see what happens. Let me get to some comments. Jonah Monahan. I'm just trying to remember. I got so many guys, Barrelissimo. Gray Zabel, got him already. He almost made the list. Podcast Cliff saying podcasters are saying no O linemen are worth taking in the first in the 10 spot. Plenty of D line guys. That's a bunch of bull crap. I don't think we're in a position to where we have to take that pick at 10. There's plenty of guys that you would take at 10, I'm pretty sure. And they're O linemen. Tackles, as a matter of fact. We'll get to some of them. Excuse me. Let me see here. Got a lot of trench monsters in here. Let me see here. Give me a second. I'm gonna wait on him. Give me a second. Where are we at? What happened, man? I'm looking for my people and I can't find them. I got too much going on. Entirely too much. Here's a guy that I'm pretty sure a lot of people have heard about. Talking about a tackle. There's not enough tackles in this draft. Anthony Belton, 6'6", 336 pounds. I'm pretty sure quite a few of you guys probably heard about Anthony Belton by now. He's a stout, just stout for no reason. I mean, impressive in both the run and passing game. I was looking at Anthony Belton play probably 3 days ago, just reviewing his tape one more time before I put this image in here. And to me, I don't think he has a whole lot of weaknesses, man. I think if people were to pick at Anthony Belton and try to find something weak about his game, I think somebody might say, foot quickness needs to be a little bit better. I don't think so. I think his foot, every offensive lineman's foot quickness can get a little bit better. I'll just say that for the record. But I think Anthony Belton is probably one of the cleanest tapes I've watched. I mean, he is not being talked about in that same tier as your Will Campbells of the world, and I don't think that's fair. I think this cat is really, really, really good at what he does, and I think he's going to be good at it for a long time. I think he's also going to be, just because of his pure size, one of those people that they, some team might consider him, what, we don't have a real tackle need right now. We're going to play you at guard. I can definitely see that happening. Do you have to play him at guard because he can't play tackle well in the NFL? I don't think that's going to be the problem. If he goes to a team that needs a tackle, I think he'll show up and show out. But I think he is extremely impressive and one of the top 3 to 5 tackles that I watched in the draft so far. I think he's really, really impressive. Let me get to the comments. Let me see. Oh, Jonah Monahan from USC. I knew that name. I got him. Let me see. Dennis Moody, you talking about Anthony Belton? I guess. Cliff asks, he's asking, Nomad, what do you think of Billings? Some people are dissing him, and I thought he was the anchor in the middle. I don't know. You talking about Andrew Billings? I don't know who would be dissing him. I'm looking at comments. Our starting left tackle, Crimson said, our starting left tackle can't play tackle well in the NFL. You got that right. He just ain't strong enough, man. I see FFG. Oh, I don't know who would be talking crap about Andrew Billings, Dennis. That's crazy. I hear you, Barrelissimo. He says Barrelissimo says Belton needs to make sure he keeps working his feet after the punch and not get out of balance. And so I hear you. I'm going, just by you saying that, I'm going to go look back and see if I noticed that. Like, you're trying to say that when he punches, his feet kind of go still and they don't keep, so he doesn't drive his legs and drive his feet after he punches. Because if that's what you're saying, I'm going to go and look at that in particular. But I just thought I think he was just really clean with his technique on everything, pretty much. I just think, people might want to get picky and get after him about his foot speed, but I didn't really see a problem there. I've heard people say different things about his foot speed, but I didn't see it. I really didn't. But I'll check that out, Barrelissimo, for sure. Give me an opinion. All right, let me look and see how many more trench guys we have. I've got another guy, but I don't think I want to talk about him tonight. We got so many other players to talk about. I'm trying to make sure I covered most of these offensive guys before we get up out of here with that and start talking about some defensive guys. All right, let's go. And so let me tee up this conversation by this. And this is just off of, what only thing we have is assumption when it comes to D coordinator. And the assumption, in my opinion, is that we'll end up with Dennis Allen. And if not, now see, the reason why I'm about to say the words I'm about to say right now is because we got Al Harris as the as a secondaries coach and whatever role else he's got over here. But there might be the possibility. So, because why would matter of fact, let me take this down. Why would Ben Johnson hire Al Harris without a defensive coordinator? Unless this guy that he just hired has some kind of familiarity with the defensive coordinator and wants him on the staff. And so there you might have to start considering maybe they're looking at Mike Zimmer, the former Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator. I don't know, but that seems like the only thing that makes sense to me. And so, we got Dennis Allen on the board, and we also have Mike Zimmer. And so before we get into this whole conversation I'm about to get into about these defensive guys we're about to talk about, let me just tee that up first so that you guys understand that I think Al Harris, is a piece, and I think there's more to come from that. I don't know if it's going to be Mike Zimmer or Dennis Allen, but I just think I found that particularly interesting. But let me get to this and re-describe what I have to say about this right quick. And so when you're looking at a Dennis Allen type of defense, he definitely has a type when it comes to his edge rushers. The edge rushers are the engine that makes his defense go. His edge rushers have to be a certain type. You got 6'4", 287-pound Cam Jordan. You got Carl Granderson, 6'5", 261 pounds. And you have, of course, Chase Young, 6'5", 265 pounds. So I kept all of that in mind before I put these guys into the image gallery to show you guys that this is what I have to look at. This is what we understand so far. We don't have any more information than what we have now, but it seems to like a bigger edge rusher and more versatile of an edge rusher, as a matter of fact. And so that's what we're going to talk about. So let me bring up the first guy. And this is the epitome of what an edge rusher, either I know for a fact that even Mike Zimmer would want this guy. But this is the true definition of a Dennis Allen edge rusher. Landon Jackson, 6'7", 280-pound senior, is a monster. And when I say monster, I mean his football play makes me give him that description. I mean an absolute terror on the field. And it's got engine for days. Let me read. Just huge football player with a great burst. His burst for a guy his size is outstanding. He is, I would just say this. And this is going to come off, and I got to be careful when I say this. I think he's top 2, 3, between 1, 2, and 3 of the best all-around edge rushers in this class. And I think there's some good ones in this class. But he is right up there. Prototypical 4-3 edge rusher. Everything you want. And motor, and he plays with a particular tenacity too, man. It's Landon Jackson, I'm telling you. If you haven't watched the tape, he's going to blow you away. If you guys that are familiar with him, salute to you. But Lord, this dude is a beast, dude. Straight up. Let me pull him down and get to some comments. Let me see. What's going on, Slick? Aeneas Peebles, we did him, Barelissimo. 6'5", 6'7" edge. He looks more 6'8" than me. He's huge, man. I mean, just a huge person. Gray Zabel. Yeah, I got him. I just didn't pull him up tonight. This is only part one. We're gonna do a lot more shows with this, man. All the way up into the drive. Got Gray Zabel. He'll probably be on the next one or something. Aeneas Peebles, we did him. There's a short out there, Barelissimo, on Aeneas Peebles we did over here. Dylan Fairchild, he's in there. We just did him. Yeah, Barelissimo, he's so good at the other stuff. Barelissimo says Landon Jackson is a physical freak, but doesn't have much pass rush stuff. He's big and strong. When I'm telling you, like, you watch a 4-3 edge rusher from New Orleans, there's nobody over there that's blowing you away at just straight up pass rush demon. Chase Young and Carl Granderson are good at pass rushing, but they're not like the excellent pure pass rushers that we have in the draft or that we have in the league. They don't have a Von Miller on the team. So the edge rushers that he has are really particular kinds of guys that can get you some pass rush, and usually through power, but mostly really, really stout and sound in the run game. That's what makes Landon Jackson, to me, that's why he's going to jump off the tape at most defensive coordinators that run a 4-3. He's going to really jump off the tape because of that power and how he plays in the run game. They'll take the fact that this guy ain't a really toolsy pass rusher and work on that. But this dude is a straight monster. I mean, straight monster. Hold on. Let me pull up the next guy. Let me roll through these guys, FG. I know you want to talk, man, but you got to let me roll through these dudes.
Hey, do your thing, brother.
Let me get to the next guy. This is another guy that won't surprise a lot of people. Edge Nick Scroton. I didn't have to put nothing else on here. Most people know who Nick Scroton is. 6'4", 280-pound junior. He's just a thumper. I mean, pure and simple, physical. I was so blown away when I found out who he was and started looking at the tape. Probably a year ago. Probably about a year ago. And I started looking, I was like, holy crap. I don't think anybody was talking about him then. I don't think anybody was talking about this cat when I started looking at him, but I just kept looking. And I was like, he puts you in the mind of, I'm just trying to think of I think a more aggressive Cam Jordan is what I'm looking at. I mean, he is a physical. I mean, I'm at a loss for words when I watch him play football sometimes, because he is so physical and just dominant when he wants to be. I mean, he can really, really take over a defensive front, and his position versatile enough and strong and powerful enough to slide inside and give you some reps from in the middle. I mean, this guy, it's going to be interesting to see how people see Nick Scroton. Do they see him as a pure edge rusher? I think his pure burst is going to be both appetizing to the guys that see him as an edge rusher and both the guys that see him as an interior tackle. Because I think his get off is so ferocious. It really jumps off the tape, the tenacity that he plays with. I mean, just that burst and the way he attacks the football game. And man, he is definitely in my top 3 to 5. Definitely in my top 3 to 5 of any edge rusher in this draft. I don't care about them too. There's a lot of toolsy pass rushers in this draft, but this cat right here, you need an edge rusher and you need a guy that can set your edge and be stout in the run game. Nick Scroton is one of them dudes, straight up. I just got a feeling that somebody's going to see him as a 3-tech and try to get, depends on where he goes, and try to turn him more into an interior guy. And I don't know, depending on what team he goes to, you might. I just like him being a versatile guy, somebody that can move in, move out, and not be going on a team that solely just sticks him inside. You know what I mean? But he's got the kind of body that makes just looking at the eye test part of it, it's going to be teams that want to put him in the middle. But let me get to some comments. Let me see. Let's draft him, Nomad. Dennis Moody said that would be his pick at 10. Yeah. The difference between Mark Watts, the difference between it's not that much of a difference between Nick Scroton and Landon Jackson. I think both of them have. I think Nick Scroton might have a little slightly better burst, but man, neither one of them lack for it. I can tell you that right now. Neither one of them. He kind of does give. He's kind of got a Jared Verse kind of look to him, doesn't he? Kyman Rucker. I haven't even looked at the Senior Bowl yet. I haven't even looked at the list, Barrelissimo. To be honest with you, I need to. I've just been so doggone busy, man. Well, let me get to some more football players, man. I hope you guys are enjoying this because I'm enjoying showing you guys this, man. Do my work and be able to put it on display for you guys is a treat for me. All right, so we on the defensive side of the ball, and we're gonna look at. We know we need some bigs in the middle. We need another Andrew Billings. We need some fat boys, don't we? So here we go. Isaiah Rakes, 6'1", 323-pound senior, straight up run stuffer. What's surprising about Isaiah Rakes is for a big dude, and he's kind of like Billings in this way, that he surprisingly will flash a couple of pass rush moves. He's good with it because he's good with his hands and good in that hand fighting game in a way that he can cross chop and kind of move guys out of the way and really, really rush the passer. But in the scheme that he played in, he just wasn't asked to do that much. And so, I mean, just a straight up run stopper. And he's one of those guys that later on in the drive, when you have that position weakness and you need pluggers in there. And I just keep looking at, I look at Dennis Allen's defense, and it's like Kalen Saunders right here. Kalen Saunders is pretty much the same player that we're looking at right here on the screen. And he and somebody like John Ridgway gets most of the nose tackle snaps in New Orleans. So also in the interior, Dennis Allen has a type, and this guy is definitely a guy that fits that. He's like Kalen Saunders all over again, but you guys will like watching him on film, man. He's a big run stuffer, man. That's what he does. A particular kind of player. Let me look at some comments. Yeah, Nick Scroton can ball. Dennis Moody. He says he looks like a meatball. He looks like that on the field too, man. But he's a player though, man. I'm telling you, he's one of those guys. Just like I put up several weeks ago. Another guy is what is his name? From Alabama. I think his name is Tim something. I can't remember, but he's another guy. Just same kind of body type, man. It's like Precious with a helmet. Oh boy. Scrotum. All right, man. So all right, let's get to the next guy. We still got quite a few guys to get to, man. So we got to keep on keeping on, Jack. Let me see. Make sure I haven't missed nobody up at the top. Making sure. Hold on. All right. So before I put this guy up here, just keep in mind, I went to the roster of Dennis Allen, and he's got a particular type. Now, this guy right here is the guy on the thumbnail, Nick Martin. Holy shit. Wait till you guys watch this dude play. If you haven't watched him play, you in for a damn treat. Straight up. This dude plays football the way football is supposed to be played. No holds barred. None. He is as impressive as anything I've seen in this draft cycle. I mean, when I'm like the football purist of football purists. I believe football is all about hitting and being physical. Even though I played defensive back and receiver, and growing up I did play running back. I was a physical football player, and so I get the chills. I literally get the chills when I watch Nick Martin playing football. I literally get the chills. This dude is like a throwback from some other era that we don't know about no more. I mean, it seems like a far gone conclusion that football used to be a certain kind of way until you watch this MF on tape. This dude is shot out of a cannon, y'all. 6 foot, 220-pound junior, straight up dominating Roquan Smith type. You know how Roquan plays. You know how Roquan plays. When he's in it, he's in it. This dude might be more physical than Roquan. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure he is. And Roquan's a physical guy. I'm telling you, Nick Martin is everything. He plays, you know, I'm talking all this stuff about him being physical. He showed me a thing or two because I kept looking at highlights at first, and then I had to go and start watching games. And I started watching whole games, and he falls back in the coverage pretty well and plays space pretty doggone well. He's not the rangiest of linebackers, but he's got athleticism, and he can jump, and he can cover ground so fast. Nick Martin is an absolute stud of a linebacker. And why did I bring up Dennis Allen and his particular type? All you got to do is go look at Demario Davis. Just look at Demario Davis. He wants fast guys. Look at Demario Davis, and I think his name is Warner, number 20 on Pete Warner, I think is his name in New Orleans. Same kind of guy. Fast physical tacklers. Fast physical tacklers. I'll say that one more time. Nick Martin is a fast physical tackler that can play in space. This is a dog of the utmost degree. I'm just blown away by him. I can't wait till you guys watch this dude and come back. Let me know in the comment section what the hell you thought about Nick Martin and tell me you weren't impressed. Let me get to a couple of comments here. I don't know where he's projected. Yes, he does play much bigger than 220. I'm telling you, dude. This I'm telling you. Wait till y'all watch this dude, man. Wait until y'all watch him. Anybody that hasn't watched him, I'm telling you right now, you thank me later. But you in for a treat, Jack. You in for a treat. Just remember, like I said, look at Dennis Allen's body type for linebacker. You'll see a Demario Davis and Pete Warner kind of guy stick out to you. All right, let me get to the next guy. I probably did too much tonight, y'all. Probably put too many names in here. I hope y'all enjoying this. Let me see here. Where we at? Did him. Hold on. So let me tell you guys something. So I'm an Illinois fan, of course, being from around here, and I pay pretty close attention to what they're doing. And every time I watch them play, every single time I watch them play, Gabe Yakas constantly, when I say constantly, I mean constantly, just dominating his guy. Just constantly. I mean, it's 6'3", 275-pound junior, as strong as an ox. I don't know if this picture is really doing it justice, but I'm telling you, this dude is he's like one of those, he's like a Paul Henry. He's like one of those just pure strong for no damn reason. He's a dominant football player at the edge. He's not toolsy as a pass rusher. Not whatsoever. He can gain that, but he's so big and so strong and so powerful. Who needs tools when you can just run right through people? Who needs it? Because at the end of the day, the NFL is going to come down to you're either good at one or two things. You got a pass rush or two and a counter from either one of them. That's it. That's it. Somebody might throw a spin move into it to make it a little bit more eccentric, but in the NFL, I mean, people do a whole bunch of talking about how many traits and tools some pass rusher has, but I think that's overrated. When you got power guys like this that dominate football games and dominate people, he just has this way about him. It's like whoever you put in front of him, his goal is to dominate that person by the end of the game. So whatever game you watching that Illinois is playing, and Gabe Yakas is in the game, if he's let's just say on one side or the other, more on the left side than right, and if he's taking more reps over there, by the time that game is over, he's dominating that guy in front of him, guaranteed. And that's not going to change when he comes to the next level. And all you have to do is listen to him in interviews when they ask him particular questions, and that's going to come out of him. I'm telling you, real sleeper in this draft. Gabe Yakas. Go watch some tape. You're going to come away very, very impressed with this guy. Look at some comments. Yeah. Yeah, tell him, Barrelissimo. I'm telling you, that cat is an ox, bro. Straight up. Straight up. Gabe Yakas. I can't wait till people come check him out, man. But here's another. Let me get to another guy here. You see this guy on the screen? In case you don't know who that is safety Hunter Wohler. Also, there's been a couple of guys that really, when I talk about throwback, people use that word kind of loosely, but I mean it when I say it. When I talk about throwback, I'm talking about physical football players. This safety Hunter Wohler, 6'2", 218-pound senior. He's a straight up throwback. He's everything you want as a box safety. He's gonna bump and grind all the time. I mean, he got elite instincts for the position, man. I mean, he really, like, when he plays in space, you think of a guy 6'2", 218 pounds playing back deep, and you're thinking, okay, he's gonna have some kind of foot quickness problem or speed problem. No, I don't think he does. I don't think he has that whatsoever. But when I mean by instincts, his football IQ is pretty high, and so he makes sure when he's playing deep, he's got the proper depth. When you got the proper depth and proper leverage, you can never lose. You can either get to the ball a little bit late or you can get to the ball on time, but you won't lose. I know that as a DB playing both positions. And so he's really, really smart. And I'm telling you, when you watch this guy play football, you're going to have the same kind of emotions that you had when you was watching Nick Martin. Same kind of guy, just knocking people clean out of their cleats. Hunter Wohler he reminds me of the safety in Minnesota. I love that kid, man. I love that guy. I can't think of his name right off the top of my head, but this dude has got everything I like in a box safety. Everything that I like about a box safety: intimidating, physical. That's what you need for a box safety, because he's basically playing an extra linebacker's role, and he's made like one. Well, watch this guy on film, and I guarantee you in the comment section, somebody's going to be like, you know what, Nomad, you mother something. You was right. Let me get to some comments. Gonna love that cat. Gonna love that cat. Only safety he wants is Dennis Mooney only wants Watts. Let me get to the next guy. I love Watts too, man. I ain't mad at nobody for that. Let me see here. Another big boy. Y'all want to see another big boy? Jay Toia. 6'3", 325-pound senior. Big, nimble, powerful. Moves. I mean, like the way he moves, it's almost like you're forgetting you're looking at a big man. His feet are really nimble, and he's got exceptional bursts. Exceptional for a dude his size. That is what's going to jump out to you, is how nimble he is, how fast his burst is, and how powerful he is. It's like it shouldn't be dudes 325 pounds moving like that. It's incredible watching him on film. I mean, he is a particular kind of player. Yes, he's a nose guard, and that's all he's going to ever be. But if he's in a system like the one we have here, and they have to ask him from time to time to get upfield and, don't worry about taking on, get upfield and get to the quarterback, get to the running back. He can do that for you in spades. Jay Toia, check him out. I'm telling you, straight up pure nose guard, man. And everybody's going to look at him and love him. Love them. You know I love those guys, Barrelissimo. I love them. He said it looks like he eats apartments. Nope, eat more cheeseburgers, Dennis. You got to eat more. That was what's going on, Crooked? What's going on? Gotta have the big boys, man. We have a big boy need, man. We have a nose tackle need. I had to throw a couple of those guys in there, man. Yes, man. Those Polynesian kids, I love them. They're just built for football. Know several of them. They just built for football and physical contact. You just gotta love them. Polynesians, I love them. All right, here we go. Now to the next guy. Let me see what we got here. Hold on. Hold on, fellas, ladies and gentlemen. Mouse went dead on me again. Got a few more guys to get to here. Let's see what we got. Let me see. Harvey, we did that guy. I think we completed it. Oh, we got one more, y'all. Oh, I almost forgot my boy. Woo, I love this kid's burst. All right, let me just give you the details. Defensive tackle Zane Durant, 6'1", 290-pound junior. Quite possibly the most explosive burst in the draft for a D tackle. Quite possibly. It could be a guy that's more. I have a hard time. I think he and TJ Sanders have explosive ability to the next level. Zane Durant is the athleticism and burst. It's just special. And so what am I? So when I looked at him and I just kept, and just recently I had to go again to look at Dennis Allen's defense. And recently Dennis Allen had a guy there by the name of David Onyemata. David Onyemata might be maybe 10 pounds bigger than Zane Durant at this point, but I don't think he came into the league at that weight. But David Onyemata was their 3-tech for the longest time down in New Orleans. And that's the guy he really loved down there. But he's got the almost exact same body type as Zane Durant. And Zane Durant definitely would be a guy that Dennis Allen as a 3-tech, he's not looking for that big 3-tech that Flus was looking for. He's looking for the smaller, quicker, stronger guy that's really, he is like his strength. I don't think people realize how strong this kid is. You can't look at him and tell how strong he is. But he is a straight up, he squats like 600 pounds. So he is, this cat right here, I just pray he goes to a team that needs a 3-tech and he can get on the field early and he doesn't have to wait. You know what I mean? Zane Durant, I think, would be an absolute great addition to our personnel right now. And I think you put him on the field and whatever you didn't get or didn't like about Zach Pickens, this guy's got that in spades. I'm telling you, Zane Durant, if you hadn't checked him out, go check him out. And I guarantee you're going to feel the same way I did. Get that down and look at these comments. Before I pull in FFG, I got to look in Barelissimo, I got to look at my safety list, man. I got so many dudes on there. I don't know if I got them written down or not, to be honest with you. I'm just being straight up real with you. But yeah, I'll look at the safeties. I got several more to talk about, man. All right. You ready, FFG? If you're good, we good. I'm good to go. I guess FFG is not there. So let me oh, there you go.
And salivating, contemplating. Right. I had to go and get the old school starter jacket on just because I'm a Bears fan. I bought this in 1993 just to show y'all how long I've been a fan. I bought this when I was in high school because I'm so hyped about this.
So what did you see? You see anything particular tonight, or anything you had to say about a particular guy before we get up out of here?
Yeah, there's a lot of players that we could. It depends on really who the defense coordinator is going to be and what hybrid style they want to run. Because I could see both of them. Okay, Squirrels. I had chicken wings, just so you know. B-Dubs is in the house. But I really want to see the direction it goes because that will really determine who we have on our team and how they're going to be utilized and who we can get rid of and who now we can bring in. And if it's going to be Dennis Allen, I really love some of the players that we described on this show. Because a boy from Arkansas is a beast, and that's who you want on the other side. You want straight power, get into the quarterback and hold the edge. And you want Montez Sweat to be the technician. on the other side. So, and then now you need the power in the middle. So the defensive tackle position is really where it's going to be make or break us, not really the defensive end. Because even when we shift to a hybrid 3-4, we have a bunch of fast rushers or people that can actually play the edge or rush from the edge or play coverage. Because we have a bunch of lean, fast, 6'4", 6'5", 260, 250, 270 guys. So we have a plethora of those kind of cats. What we really need is the beef inside, depending on who the coordinator is going to be. But once we can collapse that middle, that is going to shore up everything in the secondary and for our pass rushers going forward. Straight up.
Is this true, Nick? He said, sorry, Nomad, but Matt Eberflus is the new DC in Dallas. I haven't heard that. He might be.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I know, according to somebody, Saleh is a new DC at San Francisco.
Oh, shit.
And Dennis Allen's still fielding calls. Mike Zimmer hasn't talked to nobody, to my knowledge, but he had one of the best defenses for over a decade, especially here in the NFC North, that we had to contend with every single season. Because even though Minnesota's offense wasn't always on point, which it was most of the time, it was hard to score on them, and it always has been. But when they floodgates open, that's when they got beat. When they turned the ball over, that's how they lost games. Not because it was straight, we score and going down the field on them.
All I'm seeing is they hired Schottenheimer as a new head coach. Brian Schottenheimer.
His son? Chris?
No, Dallas hired him.
Chris Schottenheimer?
Brian Schottenheimer.
Oh, Brian, okay.
Brian Schottenheimer, new head coach in Dallas. Let me see. Hold on. Saleh back as Niners D coordinator. That's all I'm seeing so far. That's all I'm seeing so far. And now you're starting to see the shoes are starting to drop, man. You know, getting a couple of head coaches out there. Now a couple of coordinators are getting ready. The coordinators are coming off board next.
Right.
I think
exactly. That's the biggest problem we have. We still need two coordinators, but we really need an offensive line coach. That's probably the number one thing we need outside DC. If we get the right DC and the right offensive line coach, we're in business. Because tight ends coach, running backs coach, you can get them by the dozen.
One of the last things I want to tell you guys is I think is important. This is something me and Kez was talking about. I think on some extra sauce, and I think even when the news broke when we got Ben Johnson, one of the things that I think is going to be very, very important for Ben Johnson is to hire coaches, coordinators, at least a coordinator that has head coaching experience to help shepherd him along this process. And I think for obvious reasons, you know, this is your first time doing it. There's going to be nobody in the building to help you in those situations or on that field to help you with those situations unless you put them there. And I'm not saying that he can't get prepared on his own and be ready to do it the first time through, but you know, it's new to everybody the first time, and everybody needs a little bit of, you know, pick me up and a little bit of guidance. And every job that I ever did, I always needed somebody there to give me a couple of pointers. Like, hey man, you might not want to do that way. Try it like this, man. I think this works. You know what I mean? You need that kind of guy in the building. I think that's going to be paramount for him to be successful. I think he's going to need the tutelage of a head coach to be in this building.
And that's the reason why I really strongly hope that he hires the DC that's a former head coach, whether it's either Allen or if it's Zimmer. One of those guys can help, and especially if it's Zimmer, can help him navigate, especially this division, because he knows everybody. And for Green Bay, for Detroit, and the Packers for decades. I mean, he's studied those teams. So, and now we're the division to beat. So it really needs to be a concerted effort by head coach and DC where he can actually say, hey, look, I trust you. Go over there, mold these guys and let's go kick they behind, keep me updated. So I know exactly how you're going to dominate. And here's a little tinkering I've done to bust them up because this way they don't do well. So that would be a great offset as far as head coach, defensive coordinator, where it's kind of like co-head coach, and you can let Randall have his little title. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's going to be. I think we got to get ready to get out of here. But one of the things I want to say before we get out of here, I think the process is about to accelerate. I still say that I'm talking about the process, meaning the coaching cycle is about to accelerate. How many coaches he about to put on the staff? I think could be some stuff that happens overnight, first thing tomorrow. But I still say that, I think that Al Harris pick is kind of particular. I don't know why anybody, a new head coach, would hire a position coach without having a DC already in mind. Because what if the DC comes in here? I don't want Al Harris as my secondaries coach. I got my own. You know what I mean? So you got to think about it, read the tea leaves. That really tells me something, that either he's been in communication with Mike Zimmer, and that's the coach that we're going to end up getting, or he's been talking to Dennis Allen, and Dennis Allen is quite fine with Al Harris being the DB coach. He might be impressed by him or something like that. But either way, I think that's a tell of some type. But any pleasantries before we get ready to get up out of here, man? I'm about to go horse tonight.
No, it's I just want to thank everybody for showing up. I mean, I've seen a lot of people on a Friday night, want to express their opinion and have some great information about all kinds of players, from, the man who kind of gave me here first, Mr. Marco King, all the way down to the last comment we received, which is Scrolls. So everybody in between that's given us ample information about how the Bears actually can progress in a lot of different ways. And that's where I think we can excel. And I think that's what the coaching search is now come up to, where they're looking at multiple different factors. They're looking at who are going to be the coordinators, who's going to be the offensive line coach, and how we're going to structure the team based on the evaluation of the players next. And so that process, I can't wait to see, because there's going to be some real changes in the Bears organization as far as player personnel goes, that a lot of people either are going to hate or are going to love. And we don't know what yet. But get them likes up, y'all. Get them likes up.
Yes, do us that favor,
at least 70, 80 people in here, and it's 3 likes. What's the deal?
Oh, it's every bit of 150 people in here, and it's dwindling down now to about 140. But we get still a lot of people in here. Please do us a favor. We ask you kindly. We're not telling anybody what to do. We ask you kindly, hit the like button. And if you listen to the show and you're not subscribed, hopefully you got what you feel like you came here for, and we put on display what we thought you were looking for. You want to see some of these sleepers? I got more coming. Trust me. I got a boatload more coming. Boatload. When I tell you that, come to the next one, because there'll be even more than what you just saw today. I'm going to go even deeper and find some guys, your Great Zables of the world that I didn't put in this episode, but I will be back probably this time next week with more guys. And so hopefully you guys enjoyed that. And again, man, if there's any of those guys on the board that you saw that you want to know more about, any of those guys that you have comments about, let us know in the comment section, man. And I can always refresh your memory and tell you who they are, where they're from, and all that kind of stuff. But let me know what you think in the comment section. And I hope you all appreciate it, man, because it's a lot of my hard work and labor, man, to come up with that. And I give it to you in short bursts and don't tell you all the details that I know about these guys. But I think that kind of makes shows boring when you just go on and on about some players' traits and his weaknesses. I don't feel like I need to do all that all the time. I'll let you see it for yourself. We just put them on the board and let you go look at the tape for yourself. You all are pretty good football fans, and y'all pretty savvy when it comes to this stuff. So I know you'll do your homework, and so I don't mind doing the player cards and showing you who these guys are. But again, we got more next week, and we'll be back about this same time with it. But with that being said, man, I wanted to thank you guys, all you guys for coming up in here and showing us all this love on this Friday night. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us kicking it. And I love doing this shit with you guys. And I love you all from the bottom of my heart. But with that being said, I got to leave you with these famous words. If you can think it and you can see it, people, there's no reason in the world why you cannot absolutely manifest it. Do not be a prisoner of your own mind. But with that being said, we are out.
Peace.